The moment my wife walked through the front door after the wedding, I knew something was wrong. She wasn't crying. She wasn't angry. She wasn't even nervous. She was smiling. But it was the kind of smile people wear when they have just discovered something they desperately want to hide. She dropped her purse on the table and said, "We need to talk." I looked at her carefully. "About what?" She took a deep breath. "The doctor found something." My heart stopped. "What do you mean?" She pulled a folded medical report from her purse and placed it on the table. "I had a checkup after feeling sick at the wedding," she said. "The results came back." I stared at the paper. "Is it serious?" She nodded slowly. "They think I have a condition that could affect my ability to have children." For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. We had been trying to start a family for almost 2 years. I had watched my wife cry after every negative pregnancy test. I had held her hand through every doctor's appointment. So hearing those words destroyed me. I reached for her hand. "We'll get through this," I said. She looked at me. Then she whispered something that made the room feel cold. "There's something else." I waited. She looked down at the floor. "The doctor said there's a possibility I may have gotten it from someone." My stomach tightened. "What does that mean?" She didn't answer. Instead, she walked into the bedroom and shut the door. That night, I couldn't sleep. Something didn't make sense. The next morning, I called the clinic listed on the report. The receptionist checked the document number. Then she said, "Sir, this report doesn't belong to your wife." I froze. "What? The patient name is different." I stared at the paper in my hand. The name on the report wasn't my wife's. It belonged to another woman. I immediately confronted my wife. She went pale. For almost a minute, she said nothing. Then she finally admitted the truth. She had taken another woman's medical report and planned to use it to explain why she suddenly needed space from our marriage. But that wasn't the worst part. I asked her why. She started crying. "I've been seeing someone." The words hit harder than any diagnosis could have.
Who?
She refused to answer. But I already knew. There had been one man she always defended. Her co-worker, Daniel, the same man who had been texting her late at night. The same man whose name disappeared from her phone whenever I entered the room. I asked her if Daniel knew about the report. She nodded. "He told me we should leave our marriages and start over." Everything suddenly made sense. The wedding hadn't been the reason she came home different. She had spent the evening with Daniel, and somewhere during that night, they had decided what their future would look like. My wife thought she could destroy our marriage quietly. She was wrong. The next morning, I found Daniel's wife's number. I had met her only twice. She was a kind woman who had no idea what was happening behind her back. I called her. "I have something you need to see," I said. She asked what it was. "I can't explain it over the phone." We met at a quiet cafe that afternoon. I placed the medical report on the table. She read it. Then I showed her the messages between my wife and Daniel. Her face changed completely. She stared at the screen for almost a minute before whispering, "How long?" "I don't know," I said. She wiped her eyes. Then she looked at me and asked, "Does your wife know I'm here?" "No." She nodded. "Good." We sat there in silence. Then she did something I didn't expect. She pulled out her phone and called Daniel. He answered immediately. She put the phone on speaker. "Daniel," she said calmly, "tell me where you are." There was a pause. Then he said, "Why?" She smiled bitterly. "Because your new life is waiting for you." Silence. My wife had believed she was leaving me for a better future. Daniel had believed his wife would never find out. And both of them had assumed we would simply accept what they decided. They were wrong. That evening, I went home and packed my suitcase. My wife watched from the doorway. "Where are you going?" I looked at her. "You wanted a new life." She started crying. "I made a mistake." I zipped the suitcase. "No," I said quietly. "You made a choice." Then I walked out. For the first time in 2 years, I wasn't thinking about having a family. I was thinking about having a life. And sometimes the most painful truth isn't what someone did to you. It's realizing how long you were willing to believe. Someone who had already stopped choosing you.